Hi boys and girls, welcome to today's science lesson, part 1 of habitats. So you're going to need the following materials to follow along. Your science packet and of course a pen or pencil to write with. Now let's open up to our habitats page, way back, right after our physical and behavioral adaptations, and we're going to find this page first. Now, part 1 is all about aquatic environments. Now, I'm going to read those habitats off to you, and then I'm going to show you some pictures of aquatic habitats, and you tell me, what do all of these, well, actually think about it, what do all of these habitats have in common? Pond, marsh, lake, stream, river, and ocean. Here's a look at some aquatic environments. What do you notice about all of these habitats? You're right if you said they all have water, right? So that's what they all have in common, and that's really what the word aquatic means. So watery environments or watery habitats. Now, a habitat, that word that I'm using, is a natural home or environment where plants and animals live. And there are several different types of habitats, as you could see right here. Okay, now basically it's just saying where an animal lives, where a plant lives. So the sloth has a habitat of the jungle, right, that lives in the rainforest. And today, with the aquatic environments, we're going to talk about the animals that we can find there, as well as what it looks like. So we're going to start with the pond first. Now here's a picture of a pond. In the pond it says it's smaller, still body of water, and it's much smaller than a lake, and it's surrounded by land. So that's what we're going to write right over here. A small, still body of water. And when I say still, I just mean that the water is not moving, okay? The water doesn't move unless there's like a creature or an animal, something disturbing the water. So it splashes in the water or something like that. Then the water moves. But the water isn't flowing like it would in some of these other habitats. And we're going to see where the water moves in the other aquatic habitats. It's much smaller than a lake. And we're going to talk about a lake in just a moment. And another thing about a pond is that it's surrounded by land. Some of you who are doing your animal research might have an animal who lives in this habitat. Okay? So when I say it's much smaller than a lake, I mean you can literally probably walk all the way around a pond and it wouldn't take you very long to do it. Okay? A really big pond that I'm thinking of is probably like that pond at Waller Park. If you've ever gone to that park before, there's a place where the ducks all live. And that is just a giant pond, right? It's a much bigger pond, but you can walk all the way around it and it wouldn't take you a long time to walk around. So here are some pictures of a pond. This one is a good one. I have something like this near my house. That's a pond. And then right over here I have some animals that live on a pond. All right, live at a pond, excuse me. So I see here lots of bugs, like the giant water bug, a mayfly, a back swimmer, it says. We have some fish here and some turtles. So I'm going to write those animals down. Turtles, fish, frogs. I do see a bullfrog and a leopard frog, and insects, lots of bugs, right? Like any video that I do, boys and girls, pause it where you need to so that you can catch up with me. We're going to move on to the marsh, right? So the marsh is this kind of area. It's also known as wetlands, the swamp. So right over here where it says marsh, I want to add those words. wetlands, or the swamp. I'm thinking of quite a few animals that live here. So we're talking about really wet, swampy areas of land. These lands also have still or flowing water. So kind of like a pond. It's much bigger though. The water is sometimes still, or it sometimes can flow. The water is moving. It has something called brackish water. Brackish water. And brackish just means that it's a mixture of salt water and fresh water. Don't drink it though. It's not drinkable water. And then finally, most marshes and wetlands are located near lakes and streams. Not all of them. Some of them are located near oceans, and that's why there's that mixture of salt water, but most of them are located near streams and such, and rivers and such, okay? So the types of animals that we see at a marsh look something like this. So we have some ducks swimming here. We also have some insects. I see a butterfly. There's a bird in the back. I believe that is a beaver right here, or an otter. Okay? And look at this. Lots and lots of birds, right? So definitely see lots of birds. Look at this marsh. Ooh, very marshy. Lots of trees growing out from there too, right? So let's take a look at the animals that live in the marsh. We have birds, for sure. Fish, of course, because it is an aquatic environment. Frogs and tadpoles. We have beavers, turtles, and of course insects. Moving on to the lake. Now the lake is a lot bigger. It's going to take you a couple hours or so to walk all the way around a lake. Okay? Just like the pond and the marsh, it is surrounded by land. Okay? Meaning there's land all around it. There's land all around it. Okay? Not like the ocean, where you step into the ocean and there's land on one side, but nothing on the other side. There's more ocean, right? Surrounded by land, and it's a larger body of water. Larger than a pond, for sure. Okay, larger than a pond. So here are some pictures of the lake. Let's see. Here's some pictures of the lake. And we've got some, look at that lake wildlife. Insects again, lots of birds. There's the beaver, fish. We have even a raccoon for those of you reading Redfern with me. There's the coon. And then there's a turtle right down here. Check out this beautiful lake right here. Isn't that amazing? So it's surrounded by land. Land on one side, land on this side. Let's go ahead and fill in the types of animals we see at the lake. So we saw fish, of course, turtles. I saw another beaver there, and a raccoon. We'll also see birds and insects. A lot of these types of habitats have similar things in common, right? They have these similar types of animals. Oh, I forgot one at the marsh, guys. At the marsh, you're definitely going to find these. Alligators, right? Alligators and crocodiles are definitely a type of animal you would see at the marsh. So don't forget to put that. Okay, let's take a look at stream. Now, stream is a small, narrow river of moving water. So the water is flowing from one point to another. So, and it's much more narrow. So narrow just means like, if something is wide, it's a little bit bigger. but narrow means it's going to be way thinner. Okay, so we're going to write that right here and what it looks like. A small, narrow river, and there is moving water. Okay, not still like at the pond or the marsh. So there's some moving water there. Even a lake has pretty still water unless you jump in, right, and go swimming in it. All right, so at the stream, let's take a look at our stream. Pretty, right? Doesn't look like it's moving, but it is. It is definitely flowing in the stream. There's a really flowing stream. Look at that. Okay, so the types of animals we're going to find here are insects, of course. All of these places have insects. Fish, of course, because it's an aquatic habitat. And one in particular, some snails. Now the river, we know, is much larger than a stream, right? So if you've seen a river or have gone to a river, it's much, much bigger. It's a large stream of flowing water that flows into another body of water. So at the end of the river, it's going to flow into another bigger body of water. So sometimes the ocean, right? A very famous river in our country is the Mississippi River. And at the end of that river, it flows into what is called the Gulf of Mexico, which is a big, huge body of water. So right here, river, we're going to write a large stream of flowing water and it flows into another body of water. Okay. Now here's some pictures of a river. Much, much bigger, right? Look at this one. Huge. And you can see it actually kind of moving here. Here's another river. The water is moving. And then there was one that showed actual fish at the bottom of this river here. So of course, like all aquatic habitats, we definitely are going to see some fish at the river. Okay. We see birds and turtles, of course, insects and worms especially. We'll see the beaver down here as well. Otters also live in the river. Frogs, and my not so favorite animal, maybe I'll learn to like them too, the snake. All right. Okay, we only have one more, the biggest body of water. It is the ocean, of course, right? It's filled with salt water. Covers 3/4 of the earth, meaning 75% of the earth is covered with water. We only live on 25% of it. And it's a very large, very, very large body of water. And like I said, it's not really surrounded by land because once you get into the ocean, if you've ever swam at the beach, one side of it is land where you go and play in the sand, and the other side is just ocean, right? It just keeps going on and on forever until you get to land someplace else. So here we're going to find, of course, these types of animals. Oops. We have, there's our ocean, nice and huge and blue. Look at all those. Wow, beautiful. So let's take a look at some of the animals we're going to see here. Of course, fish, right? Whales, sharks, dolphins, sea turtles. So not just any kind of turtle. It has to be a sea turtle because obviously it needs to live in the sea, in salt water. An octopus and crabs.